Welcome to a very festive 2022 Winter Aftercast sponsored by Marks Canada. I am your host, Jordan Reed, and I am joined with Matt Hamill as well. Matt, so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Jordan.
Of course. Well, today we are talking about winter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes tour of the Weather Network headquarters. We've never done this before, and we are so excited to have you on the show today because today was the release date of the winter forecast. So we have a lot to dive into today. But Matt, I'm curious, what are your favorite things about the winter season?
Frigid temperatures. No, I'm just kidding, Jordan. You know, I like the good old-fashioned outdoor skating experience. Get on the outdoor rink, and that is that uniquely Canadian experience that I definitely have a soft spot for.
Okay, so how do you do the skating? Can you give me a little example? Like, do you move your arms around? Do you hold like that pole to get around? Like, how well are you?
You know, I've graduated past using the walker when I skate, but yeah, you know, I learned how to do the backwards skating at a young age on an outdoor rink, Jordan. So that really is, yeah, it's a little part of how we all learn to skate as Canadians, no?
Absolutely, Matt. Very Canadian of you. And in fact, what I'm actually doing this winter season for the holidays is I am actually renting a hockey rink indoors for the winter season. My whole family is going out, but we're actually short a goalie. I don't know if you're doing anything Winter's Eve, but I could use you.
Jordan, I haven't played goalie since I broke my nose playing outdoor hockey as a young, but I could, you know what? I feel like I could revisit my goalie life for you, Jordan. I think we could make it happen. Count me in.
All right, everybody get a contract, get him to sign it to make sure that he's there. But when I think about winter, I think obviously about frigid temperatures, like you mentioned. I also think about eating a lot of food. I don't know about you at home, but I love to eat during the winter season. What are some other words that come to mind when we talk about winter?
Yeah, you mentioned the food. That is a big one. I've already kind of gotten off to a bad start. Lots of sweets already, and we know as we head into the holiday season, the winter, start to dial up more of that kind of food. So, yeah, I think you nailed it. Sports as well, right? We talk about, I'm going to go back to my outdoor rink thing. We see those hockey games that played outdoors in the NHL. So a big part, of course, is the sporting element. Because you got to make the best out of the winter. So why not get out there, play some puck, skiing, snowboarding, all that good stuff.
All the things combined. Some of the things maybe I don't like about winter. The car situation. When you go outside, there's a lot of ice on your windshield. Like, that's kind of the worst feeling in the world sometimes.
But hey, maybe you leave some food in your car, and it's really nature's refrigerator. So there is, you can always put a positive spin on, yes, the less than ideal driving situation in the winter.
Okay, Matt, I love how you think. I mentioned that we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes tour of the Weather Network headquarters. So let's head this way.
Let's go.
Okay, so as you can see here, we have these beautiful prompters here. This is where the weather specialists actually create sequences. So they go here and they create maps so that they can go live on air and they can give you the forecast that matters in your area. Matt and I are heading over to two weather specialists now. We have Chris and we have Jesse as well. They've been super busy on the morning show today because they've been actually forecasting the winter forecast in your area. So I'll throw it to them.
Hello. Hi there. Yes. Well, Jess and I were just discussing that very thing right here. Talking about the big drivers of this winter forecast.
We've been talking about the winter forecast all morning long. We've also been talking about the, as you mentioned, the pattern drivers. So what actually went into this winter forecast? That's the more interesting thing, right?
Yeah, well, I think what's also very interesting is that I wore La Nina blue to match the sea surface temperature anomalies in the Pacific, and that's the La Nina signature. Now, of course, Jesse was more optimistic, thinking more like, you know, El Nino. But El Nino is not here yet.
Okay, let's just answer the...
Okay, what was the question again? All right,
the burning question is, what is La Nina?
Oh, what is La Nina? So La Nina is basically the equatorial waters of the tropical Pacific off the coast of South America. Now, blue just means that it is typically below normal of what it should be. If this was all red, it would be El Nino, but it's blue, it's La Nina. And as a result, that impacts the weather around the world.
Yep, around the whole globe. And it gives a good indication when we arrive to, or when we get to the winter forecast. So what does it actually look like when it comes to the cold? Where's that cold going to be focused throughout the season? And then where's that snow going to be falling?
Where is that? Those are the million-dollar questions. Now, this is a typical La Nina pattern, and keep in mind that just because it was La Nina last year and the year before, for that matter, does not mean that the winter this year will be exactly the same. In fact, last year, the colder that was and the stormy weather was really Manitoba, Ontario. I mean, Winnipeg had an incredibly snowy winter. Winnipeg, we had the flooding there going on, and we all remember some of the big snowstorms in the Great Lakes last year. But let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it all here, starting with temperatures in the west.
Yeah, I mean, no one really wants to see or experience a very cold winter, unfortunately, but where some people just embrace the winter season.
You can't run away from it, so you might as well.
Yeah, you certainly can't. The core of that cold and the most visits from the polar vortex seem to be across the eastern prairies. All of Saskatchewan, all of Manitoba seem to tip below that seasonal mark as we head into the winter season.
Correct. Now, in Alberta, this does not mean you're completely off the hook, but you'll probably get several, visit like those Chinook winds, and that will help balance you out to near normal.
Yeah.
Same in British Columbia. Let's get to the other part of the equation, the precipitation.
I mean, it's quite fitting because we've been tracking this major winter storm across British Columbia.
Yes.
So a lot of folks are getting prepared for the gusty winds, the heavy snow, the dicey travel up ahead. A lot of the south coast, Chris, parts of the Alberta Rockies and southern Alberta will likely see a heavier snowfall throughout the season.
Absolutely. And again, this is a long season, but we know that in BC it tends to snow in bunches. Like we'll get a week's worth of winter weather, then it sort of disappears for a little while, especially on coastal areas, and it comes back. So this is great news for ski resorts, but it could be troublesome getting to and from. So perhaps some indoor plans, or for those of you, what do you like? Snowshoeing, skiing, snowmobiling? I can imagine you, Jesse, on the snowmobile right there.
Maybe. I've
those
done
hills.
dog sledding
Yes,
before.
dog
That's
sledding.
quite fun.
Nice, we love this live streaming because, lots of improvisation here. So let's talk about the east now. We're talking temperatures, and look at that. Look at this big blue blob right here extending down from Hudson Bay and James Bay over towards the Great Lakes. Jesse, this is below seasonal values is what we're expecting.
Yeah, the key messaging here, though, is that just because you're under that below normal blob doesn't mean that the extreme cold will be locked in place throughout the entire season. You'll see some thaws, you'll see some beautiful breaks from the winter pattern, but overall, when you consider all 3 winter months, we'll likely see colder than normal conditions.
No need to hibernate for 3 solid months. You will be able to get outside. That's the big. And then look at the east, though, above normal temperatures. Now, also, what's worth mentioning, just because you're above normal doesn't mean you're not going to get some cold days. We just don't think we're going to see persistent cold across the east coast. And just like in the west here, where we're going to be below normal, we can still get some milder days, but that's the trend. So that's the temperature. Let's talk about precipitation. How happy or unhappy are you to see this map, Jesse?
This actually excites me, Chris, because it's not all the time where we're actually expecting a lot of that heavy snow to push into several populated centers. We're looking at you, Southern Ontario. You're really on that cusp. The city of Toronto, the GTA, down towards Windsor, cutting through Ottawa, Montreal. There's a good chance of seeing some really good snowfall. And when this actually falls is also quite convenient for the holiday season.
Indeed. By the way, I finally broke down and bought a snowblower 2 years ago when the first La Nina of this, because we're now into 3 years in a row, a La Nina three-peat. So, and I got my money's worth already, so I'm looking forward to using the snowblower. Now, you get out towards the east coast, and we see below normal in the southern areas of Nova Scotia. This doesn't mean we think you're going to have below normal precipitation. We just think it could be below normal snow. So this could be a messy winter for southern Maritimes. We're talking not just snow, but perhaps some freezing rain and some rain, not to mention wind along with it as well.
Yeah, it looks like the storm track will essentially see more Texas lows, Colorado lows, more wind storms, rather than our classic nor'easters for the East Coast.
Those nor'easters. All right, now we take a look at our highlights, our temperatures. So just in a nutshell, Canada dominates the cold that is into the interior of the country, but still can see some extended thaws. So even areas in the eastern prairies where we showed you like where some of the core of the deep freeze is going to be, doesn't mean you can't get some extended thaws. Okay, let's go to precipitation.
I mean, we've talked about it's going to be a great ski season for many resorts, West Coast, British Columbia, Ontario, Quebec, parts of Northern Atlantic. So this is great news. I mean, winter driving, always not not the greatest during these events, but we could certainly use some of those snow days.
Yeah, and here's another plus side. We expect December to really winter's going to kick start in a hurry, which is good news for the Christmas holidays, that you can get there and perhaps do some skiing, because a lot of these places, if they miss out on that all important snow, like that's big business as well.
And
So
remember last year where a lot of people were doing more golfing than skiing leading up to Christmas,
we
right?
think this year more skiing than golfing.
Yeah.
All right, so the storm track, that's all important. So where often we see the cold air and the warm air sort of collide, that's our storm track. So not necessarily is the stormiest places in where the coldest air is, but it's on the fringes, on the periphery. And that high impact storms in the east means that we could be looking at perhaps not just snowstorms, but could be that dreaded freezing rain, ice pellets, and at times perhaps rain too.
That could cause some troubles. Also, we always mention the polar vortex.
We must.
I mean, it's our best friend, right, in Canada?
Well, I don't know. That's a matter of opinion if it's our best friend. But yes, indeed it would be. But it will play a major role. And look at that, a strong start in December. So I think the key here, and this is how most people remember winter, is what's January going to be like, what's February going to be like. And of course, that's still subject to be seen, Jesse. But it does appear that central Canada will likely see the best chance of a good old-fashioned classic winter.
Yeah, maybe even some blizzard conditions on the eastern prairies.
Oh boy, yeah. We've got the blowing snow. You know, blizzards. You don't need a whole bunch of snow. You just need a little snow and strong winds, and you've got your issues there.
Yeah. So overall, how would you rate this winter?
Well, if it's anything like last winter, then I'm thinking I should perhaps book a trip down south for at least a little while. Need to get away from it for just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
It's amazing how 1 week, a break from 1 week of bitter cold can really do justice on the body, though.
It is, yes.
Right?
It's like a reset. It's like
A reset.
All right. So there you go. I hope you're enjoying this live stream, our aftercast. Of course, we've got Jordan Reed standing by. And Jordan, I'm going to ask you, so what are your favorite winter activities?
Okay, well, Chris, you talked about, going down the slopes, and that is something I tried for the first time last year. So I'm basically an expert now because it only took me a couple of times to get really good. But I told you all I'd give you a behind-the-scenes look at the Weather Network, and it doesn't get more behind the scenes than this. This is where the weather experts, they are here to give the forecast. So I have to ask you guys a couple of questions. You've been reporting across the nation all morning today on the morning show. Jesse, were there any surprises that stood out to you this season?
When it comes to the release of our winter forecast, I mean, the snowfall, especially how south it really is expected to push into, I mentioned the GTA, much of southern Ontario, the populated centers, which is really exciting for many of us. All the kids wanting to enjoy the snow rather than, mild temperatures can be nice, but not so nice when it comes to enjoying those winter activities.
Absolutely. You're totally right, Jesse. And Chris, you've been asking everybody else, but I want to know what you do on a very snowy day in southern Ontario.
Well, let's see. That's a good question. First of all, I'm probably shoveling the driveway first or using my new snowblower, so I'm looking forward to that. I love actually if the trail is relatively snow packed, like crunched down, it's going for long walks where there's still snow hanging off the trees. There's this quiet, peaceful solitude that I really enjoy, and I also find that when the snow is fresh, people are in a good mood.
100%. It's kind of cleansing, right? Like people say winter is somewhat like a fresh start.
It's like a bowl of chicken soup. It's good for the soul. It's good for the mind. It's good for the body.
Okay, well, will you be making a bowl of chicken soup for Jesse and I anytime soon?
Absolutely, yes. Just put your orders in and I'll get busy.
Okay, thank you.
I'll exchange my clicker for an apron. I'm ready.
Love it. Chef Chris in the building. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jesse, for all that you do. Right now, actually, we have some really special news because one of our fantastic reporters, Kabir, he is live in downtown Toronto right now. He is at Nathan Phillips Square. Kabir, I heard that you were bringing your skates, that you were bringing a hockey stick, that you were going to hit the ice. So is that what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. Can't you tell? It was a mad dash, of course, to be here today because downtown is a flurry of activity. But you can see behind me that the rink is nice and open for you. There's people on the ice now. That's opened just recently, I think this past weekend. So it's nice to see that as soon as we have now dipped into those cooler temperatures for southern Ontario. Although we will be seeing an increase this week. And of course, as Murph was saying, hopefully we'll get down into some of those wintry temperatures to enjoy winter sports, Jordan. And not only that,
Yes.
so the rink here is open. A lot of the outdoor rinks you're going to see have started to open at this point. And of course, snowpack is a big deal for us in Southern Ontario, with, of course, Blue Mountain and other mountains in the area getting ready to open.
Okay, Kabir, are you excited to potentially
So
go
I'm
out
gonna
into the
go
winter
ahead.
season? Do you like to get active?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I'm a skier, Jordan, and I didn't do it very much at all last year, but I did end up going skating a couple of times. But I heard a secret. I heard that you, my friend, were a hockey player. Is that correct?
I was a hockey player. I played for about 10 years in something called House League. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's where all the greats come from, Wayne Gretzky, Patrick Waugh. And in about 10 years of playing hockey, I scored exactly 3 goals. So I don't know if you're going to be recruiting me, Kabir, to any of your hockey teams you're starting.
You know what? I think I will. To be honest with you, I played hockey too for a couple of seasons. I wasn't the best player. I did it because my brother played, and my family is really big into winter sports. And of course, as we get into the season, this is the whole thing. We have all of the seasons here in Canada. So we have summer, winter, spring, fall. And the benefit of that is you get a taste of a little bit of everything. Yes, the cold is a little bit difficult to deal with, but as you can see here, I've got my winter coat on. I've got my thermal insulated pants. I don't have gloves on because I can't read my papers like that. But the nice thing is we get to experience sports in all 4 of those seasons. And of course, get out on the ice and get out on the snow. And it sounds to me like those 3 goals were well worth those 10 years of effort. Because, think about it. You've got something cool to talk about on air, right, Jordan?
Absolutely. And Kabir, you did a really special report for us here on the Weather Network talking about why it's really important to stay active even during the colder months. Let's start with that.
Training outdoors in the summer is a given for so many people, but training outdoors in the winter, now that is a completely different ballgame.
Well, the first thing we want to be concerned about in cold weather are soft tissue injuries. So, traditionally you've heard of warming up, and that's a real thing. We actually have to get our tissues warm so they're a little more supple. So training in the cold without proper warm-ups, we could see tendon injuries or muscle injuries.
And one of those reasons is because our joints react differently in colder weather.
Factors like what we wear can have a massive impact on how our joints react to running in the cold. For example, cotton is out. Using something that has wicking technology is in.
Learn how to layer. That means a base layer and even a hat, because half of your body heat could escape from your head. Look for shoes that have good grip and are ideally waterproof. Nobody wants wet feet in cold weather.
There seems to be one tip that is the cardinal rule.
In running in the winter, I would recommend warming up inside, then getting your gear on and going outside and running.
Yeah, you can do a bow if you want.
How about like a dance-off?
Hi guys, all right, Kabir. What do you like to do for the winter season? I know you mentioned that you play hockey a lot, but I'm curious if there's any other sports that you get into.
I love to ski. Actually, my partner loves to ski as well. So that's kind of our thing. And they're from Brazil. So the thing is, of course, it's a warm weather country. Getting them introduced to skiing was a really great opportunity to just kind of showcase what I've been doing as a kid. And then the teaching moment was great. So I love to get out there and ski. Also, I love to go, I know this is a very specific thing, but I love to go out to winter festivals. And as you can actually see behind me here, there's a lot going on, not just the skating rink and the lovely Toronto sign. That's a great selfie spot, but you can see these white tents. And that's because they have a celebration of lights going on here at Nathan Phillips Square that they're just setting up for right now. So behind me, there are forklifts and ladders and setting up all of these different things. So that's a really cool thing to do. And also, I love going down to Distillery here in Toronto. Jordan, do you like going out to Christmas markets? And do you have any cool winter spots that you could recommend?
Okay, I love Christmas markets. I love anything cheesy. I don't know what it is. Every year I get older, I get a little bit softer and I cry more at movies. I watch more Christmas movies and I absolutely love it. So my favorite thing to do is to just bring the girls and hit up a couch with some fluffy blankets, some cocoa, and watch a quote unquote terrible Christmas movie, or the classics like Home Alone. I don't know, Kabir, do you have like a must see Christmas movie or holiday movie that you watch every year?
Yes, actually, the traditional movie that I watch is Jim Carrey's The Grinch That Stole Christmas. That's the live action one. That has been tradition. I've watched it every single year since it's come out. And actually, my best friend texted me yesterday and said, last year we watched it on our own, but we still streamed it together off over FaceTime because, of the situation. So this year, I'm glad to get back to those Christmas parties, back to those films. There's tons of them out. There's another one. There's so many that came out on the Hallmark Channel. I love those movies. Give me 10 of them in a row. I will spend the whole day watching. I don't think they're terrible. I think they're just feel good. I think that's the way that they're engineered, right? What about you? What's your favorite Christmas movie, Jordan?
Yeah, thank you so much. I absolutely love Scrooge. I love watching that movie. It's so much fun. Any Christmas movie. Also for the viewers here, comment down below what your favorite holiday movie is to watch this season and how many times you have watched it. Thanks so much, Kabir, for everything that you do. Thanks for being in Nathan Phillips Square for you now. I'm going to bring in the rest of our family here at the Weather Network. You've seen them. You know them. We have Matt, we have Chris, we have Jesse. We're so happy to spend the holidays with you here on the Winter Aftercast. Of course, if you didn't get the chance to watch the full winter forecast, all you have to do is head to theweathernetwork.com/winter. Thanks so much, Marks Canada, for sponsoring, and have a happy holidays, guys. Hey Canada, are you feeling sleepy? Because hibernation season is on its way and it's nothing to sleep on. But what species in Canada takes snoozing the most seriously, and which hit the snooze button on hibernation altogether?
One of the best ways to describe hibernation is to contrast two animals that one that uses it and one that doesn't. And there are the gray squirrels. They cannot hibernate. They have to keep their body temperature high, and in order to do that, they have to keep their metabolism high throughout the winter, even though there's not much food around. So they have to store a lot of nuts.
Contrast this to a rodent in the same family, the chipmunk.
Their metabolism dropped to very, very low levels, 1% of what it would be for a squirrel. They're in the same family of rodent, and for some reason, during the evolution of that family, the gray squirrels decided, I don't need it anymore.
One of the interesting hibernation methods for chipmunks is called torpor, where these animals hibernate on and off throughout the winter for shorter periods of time.
Or 10 days or so, and then they'll arouse from that for a day, and then go back down into it. We don't know why.
When it comes to bears, well, there's a camp of people who say they do hibernate and a camp who claim they don't.
Every winter, they will reduce their metabolism a heck of a lot, but they're so big that their body temperature doesn't fall much below 30 degrees. So I think that they hibernate because their metabolism goes down a lot. Other people would say, well, the body temperature doesn't go down very much.
One thing we can all agree on is the toughness of this species that is cold-blooded when it comes to hibernation. Meet the wood frog.
They can freeze so that 70% of their body water is solid ice. You would think that that would kill them, but no. Come the springtime, they will thaw out. And of course, they've been frozen for, up to 4 months, depending on where they are. They haven't eaten in that time. They haven't really breathed in that time. Their heart hasn't pumped. And the first thing that they think about doing when they thaw out is mate. And then they think about finding food. So these frogs have their priorities.
Well, it seems the toughest hibernators can be the smallest of species. Did any of these hibernation facts surprise you?